Kit review time. I have on the bench this Revell Tyrrell P34-2 scale model kit in 1/32 scale. Look, it has new logo, new range, completely new redesigned boxes, but the kit inside, vintage Matchbox. So Revell have a lot of the Matchbox tooling in their back catalogue, and seeing the Tyrrell now in this fresh boxing, I know they released it last year, but they've now gone down this route where they're repackaging stuff so that you're not hoodwinked into what you're buying, that that you will realise that when you buy it, it will be an older tooling. But is there anything in the Revell back catalogue in regards to Matchbox that you would like to see re-released by them in this kind of Revell classic style? Leave them in the comments. But anyway, let's go over to the workbench and see what you're going to be getting inside this box. So here we are. This is the new release from Revell. It's the Tyrrell P34-2 Formula 1 car. This is basically one of the most recognisable, bonkers, genuinely brilliant failures of motorsports history. It looked ridiculous. It looked like a supermarket trolley had a baby with a Formula 1 car and they gave us this. That's basically what it looks like. You've got 2 big fat tyres on the back. You've got 4 little Goodyear specials on the front. And it worked. And they had a 1-2 at the Swedish Grand Prix at Andersthorpe with Patrick Decal, which is the name on this car, Formula 1 driver. And, it even had portholes in the side of the cockpit there so they could see whether the wheels had blown, if you know what I mean, or had got a puncture. Imagine it, the braking must have been phenomenal. Instead of having 1 set of disc brakes at the front, you had 2 sets of disc brakes at the front, and you also had more surface area to slow down for corners. It's brilliant. But anyway, forget about the history of it. In the realms of real life, this is a Matchbox kit, first released back in 1979, and then released again in the what I would call how I remember Matchbox kits looking like, with the red, orange, yellow stripe boxes in 1983, and then basically Matchbox disappeared. But 25 years later, in 1998, Revell released the plastic again in their own colours, and then we didn't see it again for another 27 years, where they released it back in 2025 as a bog standard kit, and then again it was released in a model set, so you could get your paints, your glues and your brush in that set. And then this year, I thought they were going to be releasing it again as a model set, but it hasn't come like that. It's come without the glues, the paints and the brushes, even though it says build, and I've commented on this before, build and paint, model, build, paint, model kit, cement and paint. But when you read that, you kind of think, oh, you build it and you paint it, as in it's all in the kit, but it's not. Very confusing, that Revell. Also, have you noticed it comes with their new logo? Instead of this logo here with the big R, which has been around since Stonehenge was even drafted on paper, they've gone for this modern look. Do I like it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a traditionalist. I find it difficult when people change their logos when there's no need to, but they still kept the red and white and blue, which is very American. But then Revell was American, even though they're now German, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you've got all that as well. Also, you will have noticed that they have now decided to bring out their own classic range. So like Airfix, they have the Vintage Classics, the Airfix Vintage Classic range. they've brought out Revell Classics. So, as I said, I'm assuming that they're bringing out these Revell Classics. They can't use the word Matchbox, obviously, because it's a licensed brand, isn't it? You know, they can't use the word Matchbox. I think they had 10 years to use it, and then that kind of fizzled away. Do I like it? I don't know. I come up with Revell Retro, just as a, when I was speaking to Luke about it about 2 or 3 years ago now, and I just said, what Revell, Revell Retro. But now they've got Revell Classics, and but does that just mean just for the Matchbox, or are they going to find a point in time where they cut off and they say that all these kits are not up to standard, not up to modern, modern looks? We're going to call them classics, or are they going to be reboxing model kits that they've acquired that weren't originally theirs and call them classics? For instance, your monograms, if you know what I mean. I don't know. Interesting, but I will ask Luke at some point, hopefully getting on my Fix and Chill and asking him sort of questions. So just quickly going to the box art now. I can see why they've done this. So basically this is a painted model of the what you're going to get inside, and so they haven't got this on a racetrack, so it looks like it's imposed or drawn. It is basically the model, which is what Airfix did back in the 80s. So they've gone for this sort of look. Fair play. This is what they've decided to do, and I presume it's cheaper to do it this way than get somebody to do a picture of it on a racetrack or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, so they've got that sort of box art. It's 1/32 scale, 105 parts, and the length of it will be 13.5 centimeters, 130 centimeters. Okay, edge of the box, you've got a bit of box art there, or you've got the model again. New logo, again, telling you what it is. Edge of the box, basically the same, and a QR code. I don't know what that QR code is, but I'll have a look at it later. Sadly, the QR code didn't work. Again, they got it vertical. But this is what I'm loving, is this. I love a flappy box, and here you go. We have a hinged flappy box. I've even done a video about how to make your own flappy boxes from like an FX box. I'll leave it up here so you can click on it and have a look. But it's quite simple. You just cut the sides and tape it up, and it works an absolute treat. Anyway, so a lot of space, but the bag is quite well sealed and tight, so I'm not expecting any problems there with the plastic. But as I said, I think they can only design one size box, and they've gone with this. So it is a lot of box for what it is. So there, and then in the lip there, you can just see piece by piece to your masterpiece. That's nice touch. I didn't show you this other side, did I? So here's the content of it. So you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues, 5 sprues, it looks like. Is it 4? Yeah, 1, 2, 3 sprues and some rubber, and then some information that it's made in Poland. Made in Poland. Right, instructions with all Revell instructions. Let me just put the camera up. There you go. All Revell instructions are like this. They're colour, and and they're very good. So it tells you there some tips there on how to build the kit. These are all your symbols that you need, and then it's got the colours that you need. Unfortunately, you've got to mix a lot of Revell colours, but it's all in there. I think it's their is it Aquas range? I think it's called Aqua range, I think. So acrylic paints, and you've got a few colours there. A lot of them you've got to mix one, I think, and that's it. So you go. You got a call out of the sprues and the rubbers there. And here you go, 90, goes up to 90 there, 91, 95. So yeah, all numbered up so you can see where you're going. And then there's your customer service there, so you go to the website. Building up, obviously, you're doing the floor flares first, and then painting. It's telling you the call outs for the paint, which is nice. Some suspension going on there, some springs. Presume they're axles, going on. Remember, this is a Matchbox kit, so it is of its time. And then once you paint up, you can put the decal on, which I assume you could do that after. And then you're gluing on some pipe work there, it looks like. Seats going in. There's some decals there for the seat belts. Class, I like that. Very, very nice. Bit of a look up there to show you how that fits on top of the spring. So you got, coming down, so you got the A-frames there. Roll cage, I suppose, or was that the front? It might be a roll cage. It looks like a bit of a roll cage for the front there. Steering wheel goes on. Again, you've got more frames at the back. Was it roll bar, whatever they call it. Then you've got an engine to build. Called Matchbox all over this. I think I did build this back in the 90s. I'm pretty sure I did. Again, engine, gearbox all going together. It's even got Ford on there, so we'll have a look at that when we take the plastic out to have a look. And then you've got your rear axles going on and suspension. So yeah, quite a bit going on there. Some pipe work there. So it's like 2.2 part exhaust there to go on the back. Was it exhaust? It's what do they call it? Yeah, manifold. So that part there goes into the manifold. And you get another for the other side as well, it looks like. So, am I right? Yeah, you get 22, 23, 51. Yeah, so you get two of them. Bolt them all together. And again, more parts there for the engine. And there's that radiators going on. Nice. Some hubs there. So you're pushing the hubs together. More pipe work there to go on. Yep, just looking through. That looks like a steering arm there to me. Some sort of rack going on. Then you got, looks like, is that a mirror? Looks like a mirror going on or something. Then you're doing the front end, and then doing the rear wing. So you got your front wing there and the rear wing. Then you put the tyres on. No need for glue apparently. They just snap in, and there's a decal to go on as well for the hub. And there you are. Most of it's going together now. And then the final things you put on is the actual the body. So this all fits on top. So it hides up all that work on the engine, I guess. So yeah, you can have it up or down. You can have that even loose. So this way, there's some mirrors going on there, I guess. And then you have your call out for your decals. To be fair, for a Matchbox kit, that doesn't look too bad, does it? A lot of decals to go on, but, you'll do well with that. So, let's have a look at the plastic. Need a knifey. An analog knife. Did a video of that ultrasonic knife, and I said these are analog now. So there you are. Look at that. There are your rubber wheels, and they do have Goodyear on them. Can I just zoom in? Let's just zoom in on that. There you go. Goodyear. Lovely. What about on the front? Yeah, even got it on the front as well. Look at that. Some branding. We all like a bit of branding, don't we? So, let's have a little looky then. So what's, by the way, they're not Sprue A, B, C and D and all that. They're just numbered all the way through. And to be fair, that's looking pretty good. Can you see any flash on there? No, not at all. A little bit of markage there, but great, isn't it? Looking very good for a €47 kit. Very nice. So there's that sprue, and then you've got these in green and grey. Look at that. Isn't that great? That's a little bit of flash there, but that's not on the part though, is it? It's not on the part. That's cruel. Honestly, I'm overwhelmed. I thought it still looks as crisp as it was back in 1979. Bit of raised rivets there, a bit of raised, Lovely. And the final one is this one. Again, even the radiators look good for its age. Fantastic. The engine. Did the engine say Ford on it? I'm sure the engine said Ford. Just looking for where it says Ford on the engine. But yeah, very nice. Oh, there you go. That's where it says Ford. If I bring it up and zoom in a little bit. Come on. There, Ford. There you go, Ford on the engine. I'll give it to zoom in a little bit. There you go, Ford. Ford. So yeah, fantastic. Hopefully zoom it in. There we are. And here are the decals. Now, they are saying that they're printed in Italy, but it doesn't say cartograph. But you've got Goodyear there, which I presume you can use on the tyres or on the wings, I guess. So yeah, you got your Goodyears there, and they look like they've doubled up on these as well because the wheels can be a bit tricky, the tyres can be a bit tricky. So you've got Goodyear there, Goodyear. Then this side, you've got Goodyears for the tyres there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I presume they go one side each side, I guess. So you can put them on the inners and the outers, if you know what I mean. And then you've got this for the body. So you've already painted it blue, and then you put that on top. There'll be a bit of fun to put that down, definitely. First National City, which was the sponsors back in the day, and you've got your elf stickers there, and you've got the one that goes on the front of the wing there, saying Goodyear. Let's get up close, you can see that Goodyear there. Gauges there for your dashboard. There's your seat belts. Very nice, very robust. So yeah, pretty cool. I like it. I do like it. Very, very well presented. What can I say? Revell, I think your boxing, I love flappy boxing. Everybody knows I love a flappy box. They are really, really good. I like the way that you can just lift up the box and put in. I just like them. You know, as I said, I've done a video about how I create my own. But to bring out a classic like this and not hoodwink anyone, so to speak. But there is one caveat. Now, I remember when we talked about this that a lot of manufacturers are putting the date of the release of the kit. So they will say pack design and scheme, the date, or the year, I should say. And then they would also put the year of the tool. So when the tooling was manufactured. So, like I said, when you get an Airfix kit, it will say pack design 2024, and then it will say tooling 2020, or when you've got the vintage classic, it'll probably go back to the 1960s. But it will tell you on the box, not that it says vintage classic, Airfix vintage classic, and you know it from that, but it'll actually tell you the year of the tooling, and it's quite informative. Now, I get it. They brought out this Revell Classics. Good idea. Kind of a little bit too similar to Airfix. I think they could have come up with something a bit better, but they're German, and can I be so rude as to say what works for the English will work for them? I don't know. Can you say that? I don't know. But anyways, I've looked everywhere on this box for the date of the tooling, and it doesn't say anywhere that it was tooled in 1979. Slight disappointment, as I was told that, like Heller are doing, and I said Airfix have done it. They were the trailblazers for this. To put out the tooling. I know Tammy have been doing it for years. They don't tell you the date of when the kit was produced, but they says copyright 1974, copyright of the year of when that tooling was created. So yeah, you've got that as well. But yeah, obviously that's a little bit of a disappointment. But the kit inside isn't a disappointment. It's still that fresh Matchbox nostalgia. There's hard. I didn't see any flash in it. They'll go well together. They may be a little bit simple. They may be a little bit inaccurate, but it's Matchbox. And going by how many times this has actually been produced, or should I say released, was it 5, 6 times? The tooling must be minty fresh, straight out of Polo Land, But I'm looking forward to putting this on my bench and having a little bit of a build. I've got 3 of them, by the way, but I was more interested in the fact of how they are now establishing themselves with these older toolings, and I'd like to find out whether it's just going to be stuck to the Matchbox in the Revell Classics for now, or are they going to bring in the monogram kits that they've got? Do they have some AMT or something in the mix as well? I'm not too sure about that. But, you know, they have boxed up or they've actually gained tooling from other manufacturers. I'm pretty sure Frog might be in the mix somewhere as well. I'm not too sure. But is that going to be their classics? Or are they going to have a proper cut-off point from their backlog of many thousands of tools where they say anything 1990 back will now be a Revell Classic? I don't know. I will hopefully get Luke on one of the future Airfix and Chills and find out his thoughts on this. But by the way, these kits, I got it from Tiger Hobbies. They're around 15 or 16 pounds. He has them in stock. I think Jadlam had last year's release, which was a model set, which might be a little bit more money. But for 15, 16 quid, you're getting a good chunk of plastic, really good decals. They don't say cartograph, it just says made in Italy, so take that which way you want. You know, I'm not too sure if they are cartograph, but it does say made in Italy, so put it out there. But yeah, if this kind of interests you, as I said, they are available online for around 15, 16 pounds. You're getting a good, fresh looking kit for the tooling, and looks quite simple to put together. Look, I think the issue is going to be is getting that decal to go down along the side. You know, that's a huge decal there to go down the side for 1/32 scale. But you know, it's up to you. If you want to buy one, I'll leave a link in the description box where I got mine from, and let me know if you've built this kit or you'd like to build it, and have you got any thoughts on what Revell are doing now with these Revell Classics? Please let me know in the comments box below. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, click like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, ring that bell, click all to be notified when I release a new video. Huge shout out to my channel members who help me financially with this channel. If you'd like to become a channel member, click join below and select which membership tier you so wish. In one of the 4 corners will be a playlist or a video of other content from my channel, and if you are going to go over there and watch it, please do, and I'll see you over there.